ChadArmesTV, man. We are back with another interview, man, from the interview series. This is one that has been in the making for a couple of years, bro. We've
Long
been
overdue.
Yeah, we've been in contact for a couple of years. Yeah, so we got the homie Bezz Believe, man.
What up, world? How you guys doing?
Yeah, man. How you been, bro?
Man, doing amazing, doing amazing.
Yeah, so, you know, anybody that tunes into ChadArmesTV, man, knows that these interviews are more the deep dive style. And we're going to just get into the Bezz Believe story, man. And kind of just go through leading up to what you got going on currently. Okay?
Definitely.
So we'll start it off like this, man. Where are you born and raised at?
I was actually born in Phoenix, Arizona, but I've lived in Florida like my whole life. Damn near, like I came to Florida probably around like 3 years old. Yeah. So I'd say I'm a Floridian for the most part.
Right. What was it like growing up? What part of Florida was? You said Orlando?
Yeah. I've lived all over Florida, from Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Fort Myers. Shoot, there might even be some more. Like,
right.
Yeah, I've been all over the state, and then eventually settled in Orlando, probably for the longest amount of time, I'd say.
Yeah. What was it like growing up in Florida, man? Like as a kid?
Man, Florida is like no other place, I'd say, in the United States. It's like, it's so diverse, like diverse on the next level. I don't think there's any other states that are on that level of diversity, maybe besides New York and California. Yeah. So it's like you have so many, such a melting pot of different cultures that are so different, that it's a beautiful thing. But at the same time, people butt heads and they clash. Yeah. And even though they're living right next to each other, it doesn't mean they get along and fuck with each other, you know? Yeah. So it's like always just a constant, you're getting dragged in different directions, you know? Yeah,
for sure. Both parents in the household when you grew up?
Probably, I think till I was like 6 years old. Okay. And then my parents got divorced, yeah.
Yeah. You got brothers and sisters or anything like that?
I have one brother.
Yeah. Was y'all close growing up?
Yeah, we're real close. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Would you like growing up in Florida? Was you into sports and stuff like that?
Yeah, I was definitely into sports. You know, every kid's dream, make the NBA or something like that. So I was heavy into all that.
So was it basketball?
Yeah, it was mostly basketball. I played like everything. Yeah. But I think basketball was the one that I take the most serious.
Yeah. So let's talk about music. So when you was growing up, what do you recollect as a kid? Maybe your parents playing, or something that you remember vividly, like grabbing you, whatever, maybe it been a style of music or a specific song, or?
A lot of it, man, was just being, you know, coming from a single mom who had to work jobs and not be home, and me and my brother was just watching rap videos all day. Yeah. And hanging out with the little troublemakers in the neighborhood. Yeah. That's really what it came from, was just, you know, I love my mom and she's the best, but you know, she had to do what she had to do. Right. But I think the time unsupervised, you know, we found our own fun.
Rap,
yeah. Uh-huh.
So do you remember, as far as rap goes, do you remember what specific artist or song maybe that you really was like, oh, this is crazy, like growing up?
Man, it was really, because I was like so young, man. I had to be like 8, 9 years old. It was a Master P, Make 'Em Say,
Okay, yeah.
You know, when you're that young, like I love Master P, but obviously now I know he's not the most lyrical or talented artist, but then I think that's what it's about. Yeah. It was like, but that video popped on the tanks with the gorillas all on there, and
basketball shit.
And I love basketball, so it's like, you know, that video alone like stays with me forever though, and like, I knew it was something I wanted to do. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Back then, man, growing up, and No Limit was like, No Limit and Cash Money, man, was running like, especially
big time, yeah.
Especially when you growing up in Florida, being from the South, then being, you know, Louisiana based for the most part, like. No Limit dropping like every week. They were dropping, you know, especially in 97, 98, like that time frame.
Physical albums. We were buying the real albums at a Walmart. Like,
yeah, and they had those cool, like, you know, custom, like different color cases and shit. Yeah. That made them stand out. Do you remember how old you were when you was like, maybe it was freestyling or maybe writing something down, like where you was like, I want to try to do this?
It was really young, man. I think it was in 7th grade was like when I first recorded something on a tape recorder. Yeah. And it was to a No Limit beat that we bought. We bought the single that came with the instrumental. Bro, I forgot the exact song it was. It was like somebody Yeah, I know it was one of the under artists that like Master P was trying to push. I don't even remember his name anymore, but we jumped on the on one of the beats, man. It was a physical CD. That's what's funny.
That is great, dude. I remember those maxi singles back in the day, bro. I used to do the same thing. I think mine was like Rough Riders, maybe the Rough Riders anthem, the DMX, which you just did a freestyle. Too. I think it was one of those. Like for me too, it was like a maxi single. But yeah, so when you did that, like you said, 7th grade. Did you, when you first did it and you heard yourself, even though back then, obviously you thought it was the greatest thing ever. We all did when we were kids, right?
Yeah.
Like, did that, when you first did it that first time, is that something you knew you wanted to keep doing, or did you put it?
I definitely loved it and I wanted to keep getting better. I knew I sounded like shit because I had such an undeveloped voice, you know.
Right.
I was on the track, so like a little ass kid. But I love doing it, and like I just knew. I don't know. It was one of those things. It was just natural. Like I knew I was gonna be a rapper, man. Like yeah.
So like when you started doing that, and do you remember when you went into your first studio? Like I know you said you was recording on tape recorders and stuff. Do you remember like the first studio performance or studio recording or anything like that? Yeah,
definitely. I had a homie who had like a in-home studio, and back then that was like a big deal to like have the equipment and know how to record and stuff, especially at that age. So I was at his, just working on the craft at that point, just staying consistent with it. And then we started thinking our shit was good, but I listen back now and it still sounded like trash. But like, that's when we was getting gassed up like we were good.
Yeah. And you're still in Florida at this time?
Oh yeah. I was still in Florida. Yep.
So the first, like I know back in the day, because you've been doing this since before streaming. So it's like, do you remember I know we've got a project on here from 2011. Was that the first project you officially released?
Yeah.
From Niagara Falls.
Yeah, that was.
And we'll throw these on the screen so people can see them. Yeah.
That was like back in when you had to drop your shit on Dat Piff and live mixtapes and shit.
Yeah, and you know how I know it was 2011? You didn't have to tell me the year, because I see there's 23 songs and it's 80 minutes of music, because that's as much as you could put on the CDs back then, bro.
Yeah.
So like, do you remember when you put out that first project in 2011? Did you see any, like, were you just hand to hand? Obviously, it was hand to hand stuff mostly, but like, did you see any kind of buzz initially, or was that something that you had to really?
I thought it was a buzz because I was like the cool guy amongst the like the friend circle and the people my age. I was going to UCF for a little bit there, so like I was grinding and getting a lot of good feedback on the campus. So I thought I was the man, but I didn't realize the grand scale of how much this really takes. So I thought I was killing it. I was the best rapper that I knew.
Yeah. No, for sure, bro.
Yeah.
And then it's like, so you're like me in the sense, bro, you've got a lot of albums over the years. Like you dropped that one in 2011, and then the following year you dropped 2 projects. You dropped I Believe and you dropped Hercules. This is what it's saying in 2012. Right? Was there a specific song that you remember that started to take off? Because I remember Bobby Boucher was that one of the bigger?
Yeah, Bobby Boucher was like the one that made me the man, exactly like in that time period on around the Orlando area for sure. That one kind of like went the most viral for what viral was back then.
Right,
like you couldn't really get out there like that. That was like exactly hand-to-hand CDs. Like we was really freaking doing that.
Yeah, because like you thinking 2012, that's towards the end of the MySpace stuff.
Yeah.
And like where you could put stuff on iTunes and stuff, but it was like there wasn't really like streaming other than iTunes.
Yeah.
I remember that, but like, and then with those 2 albums, like, the Bobby Boucher record is what. Did you start, and that's when you started seeing things really start to boom in Florida?
Started gaining some traction, and then that Hercules, I would say, was like the biggest one that like really kind of got out there and really made me a man, really made me the man. And then shoot, bro, that was a club rocker though. I've seen a lot of during that time period. A lot of clubs get bucked to that track, man.
The Hercules track, the I Go Hercules.
And then Shaq eventually jumped on that one too. So
so I was going to ask you about that.
Special,
so when was that a thing? Was that around that time or was it later?
It was way later, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, the Hercules song was out, and then shit, it might have been 2 years old. By the maybe even 4 years, but after he jumped on it. He said he was just on a plane, and he randomly woke up, and my song was like recommended on YouTube. And he heard it,
wow, bro.
and he just like, he sent his management team to find me and get a hold of me. He said, I want to put a verse on your song. I was like,
bro, speak about that, man, because you being such a basketball fan, obviously, I don't know, but Shaq's got to be probably one of the GOATs to you.
He
is to me.
100%.
And like Shaq being such a real one, you can just tell he's a real one in general. But like, how was that? What was that like getting that kind of like news? I'm sure it had to be pretty awesome, though.
Oh yeah, man, because it's like, you know how this game goes. We're both in the business. Like, 95% of opportunities in this game is you got to pay for it, or you got to do somebody a crazy favor, or you know, like, there's always one hand washes the other. There's not really just genuine like, hey man, I like your stuff, let me do something nice for you. And that was one of those moments, like, after grinding and you know, having to get pay to get my stuff on Dat Piff and Spotify, not Spotify, and live mixtapes and World Star, and like everything was like, you had to pay. And then he just reached out, the biggest of any platform of all, was just gave me the free look. Didn't want nothing in return, just to put a verse on the song, bro. So that, you know, it was I think a big pivoting moment that showed me like, man, there are some celebrities that are actually good people, and not scumbags just trying to rip you off all the time, you know?
And obviously when that happened, of course, then you dropped the self-titled project in 2014, the Bezz Believe project. And at this point, you haven't, Shaq hasn't even reached out at this point. With this.
No, he was
This is still before that. And then the following year, you did The Water Boy in 2015. And at that point, you were starting to really build a buzz. Like, you'd already built the buzz in Florida, but like, that's when stuff was really starting to flourish, right?
To an extent, I was definitely going somewhere, and I was grinding my ass off. But like, it's like that time period was like still the transitioning to the internet and the viral, where it's like it was still so much hand-to-hand CDs, and physically being at places and networking with DJs to get your shit spun. It was so much about club play. Like, that was the way people determined your shit was hot, if you was getting played in the club. So like, I always had to be out fucking in dangerous situations all the time. But it's like, I cared about the music so much that you know, I made it happen.
Yeah. And then 2016, I feel like was very pivotal.
Definitely, yeah.
Because that's when you dropped the Hustle God project, and you had the multiple songs with Kevin Gates. Do you want to speak about how did that come about?
Really, man, I had a big moment, like, in life, like a very spiritual awakening, where I just like closed my eyes and just manifested, like, what's my next move? What do I need to do next? And I really like sat on it, thought, and it's like, man, you need to do, like, a voice in my head. It's like, you need to do some shit with Kevin Gates, bro. Like, you know, it just, a voice in my head literally spoke to me, and I followed that. And, you know, I just started hitting up all his people, and you know, eventually got a hold of his DJ, you know, paid the feature cost and the video cost. And man, it fucking smashed and went out the park. So then I just, you know, went for another one. And during that time period, that was a good formula for me. That shit was working, you know.
No, for sure, man. And y'all had some dope tracks together, man. And then that same project is the one that had the Hercules with Shaq on it.
Yeah, huh?
Yeah, that was that was the one with Shaq. And of course, you had OG Booby Black on there. You had that's when I started to see, like, 2016, I feel like, with the Kevin Gates.
That was the major breakout that like took me on a national level, from just this kid in Orlando who's making a buzz to like, I reached a national level. You know, that was a real blessing. Like, because then if I only focused on Florida, that's a crab market. I would have still just a hater market. It's like when you're passing out CDs to people that they don't want a free CD, you know. And and this shit introduced me to markets where now I'm passing out a free CD and they're hanging on their wall and asking for an autograph and spending $200 on merch on my website. And I was like, man, the rest of the world ain't like this fucking crab in a bucket ass place I'm living, you know.
Right, for sure, bro. At this point with the Hustle God project, had you started doing the merch yet, or was that a little bit later? Like to the extent that you that
we were like beginning stages, but definitely not to the extent
that it is like currently. Yeah. And then did you just kept pushing because like the following year you did Hustle God 2. 2017 did Hustle God 2. You had Gucci on that one.
Yeah.
You had another. I think you had Gates on that one. Did you have Bubba on there too? The Hercules remix.
I think I have them on. I know there's a song "Positive Vibes" with Bubba on it. I just don't know which album that is. I think
Hustle God 2.
Hustle God 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So you like, and at this point too, man, it almost was to a point where when I first saw you, I thought you were signed to Gates. Like,
everybody fucking did. Yeah.
Because of it didn't look like it was just a song that you got him. It looked like he was like. Not only doing the feature, but he was co-signing like what you was doing.
Nah, for sure, man. Yeah. It's like we had great momentum, and I was just, we were just running that circuit and crushing it. And then, he got locked up in like the prime of his career when I really did get that call. Yo, Kevin Gates wants to sign you from his DJ.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then it's like he goes to jail not too much longer after that. And then, it was like I had to fend for myself after that point,
Yeah, and at that point too, man, I know that probably had to be a big blow to you, like, but at the same time, it was like the universe, it just wasn't meant to, I guess
I see
looking back.
It's definitely a blessing now, It's like, I think my age level there, and then just like, you're really like working with like, say, your hero. Like if you looked up to Michael Jordan or Larry Bird and now you're in the league playing right next to him on the same team, like that's how it was to me back then. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the song that I feel like one of the biggest songs that you have was the one you did with Strug, Thick Country Girl. Like that one, I remember that one really getting steam. Like that.
It did, yeah.
2019, you did Thick Country Girl with Strug on the Discipline album. And that one had some bangers on. You had the one with Paul Wall on there.
Yeah.
You had the Mouthful of Diamonds joint on there.
Yep.
There was a lot of good ones on there. But like by this time, man, I mean, you're 8 years in and you're like 8 albums in.
8 years in the game already at that point. That's crazy. Yeah, OG.
And that's wild. So like along that time frame, had you been doing a lot of shows up until that point too?
Once, like 2016, that's when the shows fucking really ramped up because like I went on that national level and now I'm having people call me from all over the United States, trying to get me for shows.
Yeah. And was it because of a lot of the stuff that like the Gates collabs that really kicked the door
definitely
open?
That opened up a lot of doors, and then everybody, they kind of ride off his they already fuck with him, so if I did a song with him, they like me now. That's kind of how it went a lot.
Yeah. So let's speak about the pandemic, right? So you living in Florida, like we're right off. You just dropped the album in 2019, and then COVID hits.
Yeah.
Speak about how that affected you. Now, granted, where you lived at, it was probably a little bit more.
Yeah, Florida was pretty chill about it. Yeah.
But I remember, bro, whenever I saw that they canceled the NBA season, that's when I was like, oh, this is serious.
This ain't no joke. Yeah.
Because I kept thinking, oh, it's not going to come over here. And then I'm getting a notification from ESPN, NBA's canceled their season. I'm like, what is going on? So, like, what are your thoughts about how crazy that time was, man?
It's all scam,
Yeah.
it's all a scam. But it's like I've been in the entertainment business long enough that I just, I understand the behind the scenes behind news, media, government, major corporations. Like they're always going to hit us with a new surprise or a new scam or finesse that's going to force us to do something that we don't want for their benefit. It just, I think, and it happens always every election year, of course. They do some sort of shit that makes the other one of them look bad, and now they're creating their own tragedies within society to blame it on the next guy. Like it's politics is a dirty game, man.
Yeah, man. And then in that time frame, as an artist and content creator, did you ramp up all that, and because like with us, it was like sink or swim for content creators.
Yeah,
that's how we made our bucks, was like getting out there doing what we got to do. So like, did you see that affect you in that way?
What that did was it ramped. That's why I started going crazy with the merch. Like, you know, just sitting online and selling merch all day, because it's like they weren't allowing shows, you know. So it's like, we were just sitting online slanging merch all day. And I think people were in a consumer mind state, which was good about the COVID, because they got that stimulus check.
Yeah.
So like when that stimulus check dropped, like it was like with the merch, you know. So for a while, it was off the chain. Like I was fucking making great money off the merch, and then, you know, obviously once those stimulus checks got spent, it started slowing down. We're like, this COVID shit gotta end.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, that's when y'all ramped up the merch stuff, and then of course in 2020, you dropped Country Trapper. So when do you see, like, we spoke about it off camera outside, but like, when you started to see yourself kind of shifting into the country rap lane, like what time frame would you say that was?
It was maybe like late 2016, 17, because it's like once I went national, I just started reaching audiences and fan bases that, like, me being from Florida, I didn't even really like know existed, you know? And then I went on this tour, the Backwoods Riot Tour. It had some dates with Upchurch, Adam Calhoun, Second Chance, Twangin' Round, a few country rappers. And like, I did like 40 shows or something like that in front of a country audience, where it's like, you know, became a lifestyle, and I really liked it, because it's like you're performing for just different fan base, bro. Like we were speaking of like being a good person and representing positivity and guiding kids on the right track. Obviously, I'm not perfect, but I'm 10 million times better than what the mainstream's pushing at the kids, where it's like they love you for doing good, you know. And I was so used to hip hop is they love you for toxicity, you know. Who'd you fight? Who'd you shoot? You fight in a Fed case, and they love to see you self-destruct. And now I'm performing for fans that love to see me succeed and be a good dude. And that's really where I was like, man, I love this lane that you know, God shifted me into.
No, for sure. Did growing up, like, was that always your mentality, or did you go through some years where it was like maybe not the opposite? But I mean, we all go through trials and tribulations.
100%.
Was that something that you went through, like?
Yeah, definitely. It's like coming up, you're always fighting that temptation. You're always peer pressured by that stuff. You know, you're making, or you do something positive, and then people calling you lame. And these are the cool dudes running the town that everybody thinks is the shit. You know, so you're always like on that crossroads. Like, man, do I be a good guy, or do I follow what this toxic cycle is pushing me? And it's like that's always been like, I think, a struggle the early years of the music, because I really didn't understand about like, yo, set your morals, set your principles, and just plant your feet and stand there, and don't let nobody, no amount of clout, no amount of money break you from your morality, you know, in who you know you are, you know. So I think it just really took growing up and experiencing a lot and being like, this is who I am. Like, no one's gonna break me from who I am. You know, I don't care about anything, you know, superficial that you could do for me. If it's gonna shift me out of the man that I am, I'm not gonna go for it. You know.
Right. Yeah. And then, like I said, in 2020, you dropped two projects. You dropped Country Trapper, and you dropped Bezz for Prezi. Were these songs that you had, like, your recording process? Do you record these albums that drop? Are they in like real time, or is it like batches of songs that you just kind of pick some from? And
back then it was batches, because that's when still it was about albums. And for the longest time, I think that's why even, you know, I didn't get further faster, because like I was not that I was anti social media, but I wasn't like, I'm like, man, what's this algorithm like? I'm not really super active trying to learn it and deliver content that consumers want to see online. You know, I was a bit against adapting back then, you know?
No, for sure, bro. For sure. And then the pandemic, it comes and goes, and then it comes back. You know, like 2021, you dropped 2 projects that year as well. You dropped Hustle God 3. I remember Hustle God 3, there was one song from that album. I'm trying to remember which one it was. You had a video to it. Maybe it was Charged Up.
Yeah.
That one was, I remember that one hit hard. I can't remember. Yeah. It was something off that album because it's the album with that cover.
Yeah.
Was Charged Up was one of the
songs.
Charged
Up's a hype one. Yeah.
That's the one I remember from that one. And then you dropped that album, and then you dropped Freedom in 2021, which you had collabs with FJ, you had collabs with Blind Fury, you had collabs with Lil White on that one. Did you see yourself, like, all this time, like, putting out these projects, doing shows, stuff like that? Did you ever, putting the amount of content you put out, did you ever hit, like, a wall? Man. Like, writer's block? Like, or
kind of recently, believe it or not, like, because I you know, to get my family right, and like we talked about off camera, like, you know, just getting my family right and focusing on my responsibilities as a man. Like, I went probably the longest I went without like consistently writing. It was like a month without really writing, and I you know, I've done so many songs about trapping and serving. I was like, I don't want to make every single song about this. Like, what else am I gonna talk about? Like, and then the animated series came, and then it was a blessing that Kendrick and Drake beef, because then I'm like, that's something else I could talk about right there. Hell yeah, okay. And then the momentum from that really just sparked, boom, you know, like all new creativity. Because now I'm like, man, I could really do a song roasting anyone or talking about anyone, and it kind of got my mind state to like that very creative storytelling again, you know?
Yeah. No, for sure, bro. And like I said, you dropped in 2021, you dropped those 2, and then you dropped several in 2022, bro. You had a lot of stuff that you was flooding, because you had Country Trapper 2. Yeah. Which you had Bubby on there. You had a few other features on that one. And then the one you did a collab project with Forgiato. Do you want to speak about that style? Like, speak about that right there.
Oh man, see, you know, we're from the South, you know, and Florida too. It's like out here the Republican versus Democrat politics is like a big topic of conversation, especially in Florida. Like, if, you know, people get heated over that, and Forgiato's been my dog for a long time. He puts in work, boy. That guy's a grinder. So we were working on music. I know he was on like the whole, you know, he's been doing his Trump thing for a while, and there was just so much like building up. And I came out with that record, Proud American. Like, I just heard that beat, and it was the times. I think it was when Trump, like right when Trump was about to get elected, and I was like, man, this is about to set it off. Let's drop it. And I came up with the hook, Proud American, and then I threw him on it, and the song just like went like organically crazy, viral. And then it's almost like what happened with the country rap, where now I'm gaining all these Trump supporter fans who are like, you're a hero. You guys are the only rappers with the balls to talk about this shit. And like, that was a great audience too, because they're buying physical CDs. You know, I was selling a single, the Love Trump's Hate, for $100 back when it was like a little after Nipsey did the $100 CD. So I was like, man, if he could do a $100 CD, I think for these Trump fans, I could do a $100 CD, because the song got pulled from the internet for a little bit. Oh, okay. Yeah, so like they couldn't get it nowhere else, so they were really paying me $100 for one song.
Oh wow.
So it's like that audience, I feel like in the media, I always love standing up for the underdog, and I feel like in the media and like what's cool and hip, they're the underdog. Like, it was cool to be a lefty twerking your booty, kissing Joe Biden's ass, acting like Trump's a bad guy. Like, that's the whole industry move. If you say, oh, Trump's all right, you'll get blackballed from rap. And I was like, this shit is a dictatorship. Like, I'm going to stand up for the underdog. The people that, all these people in this weirdo industry, P. Diddy licking each other's buttholes and snorting Molly off each other's toes, doing all this weirdo shit, and y'all think they're cool. No, these people talking about good values, taking care of their family, opening up businesses, doing right for the community. I think they're cooler than y'all. So I don't care what the industry says. I'm gonna be a voice for these people, you know?
No, for sure, man. Did you catch a lot of flack for the Trump, the pro-Trump? Yeah. Because I know Forgiato catches a lot of flack.
Hell yeah.
So like, how did you navigate that? Did you just ignore it? I mean, some of it, or did you just kind of just?
I would have intelligent debate with people, and then you just gotta keep dropping, because like, if you're hot and you're dope and you just keep dropping, people are gonna forgive you when you drop something that they like.
Right.
You know, that's kind of what I noticed. Because look how many artists, like, they might have had a whack song or two, but then they came back with a banger, and now you know they're back on. This game is like, they hate you, they love you. They hate you, they love you. You just got to keep dropping and just keep. And people's opinions are gonna continue to change. You know.
No, for sure, man. And did you when you did that project? Did you think that when you did it, did you think that you could get pigeonholed into that genre?
No, because I knew my diversity as an artist, and I knew I was locked and loaded with other stuff.
So like, you were just like, this is just something I wanted to do for that time.
Yeah. It's almost like the animated series. It's like, boom, you're jumping into a project that's dedicated. It's like dedicated to that project. It's not my full style.
It's
you
not.
know?
It doesn't define me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then you dropped The Blessing in 2022, which was another solid project too. And all of these projects that you dropped, were any of these under these? Were these? I know you dropped Freedom under Mako.
Yeah.
But then the rest of these, were these all just?
Yeah, they're all independent. Yeah.
Okay, got you. And then, golly, 2022, bro, you was working, dog. You dropped 1, 2, 3. You dropped 5 projects in 2022.
That's crazy. Yeah,
dude. 2022, you dropped another collab project with Forgiato. You dropped Red Wave. Right, yeah. November of 2022, yeah. And at this point, were y'all doing, because now we're outside, the pandemic's passed.
Yeah.
Did the shows pick back up at this time frame? 21, 22?
I'm trying to think that time period. Like, I've been pretty consistent with doing shows. I feel like that's why it's like we even conversated about kind of being burnt out, because like you're doing shows on the same exact level, and you're not growing. The crowds ain't getting bigger. You're not getting paid anymore. There's no, you know, so it's like, but I was doing a ton of them, you know.
Yeah,
I was doing a ton.
No, for sure. And then you closed 2022 out with the American Dream album, which is a solid project too. That's the one with the orange car on the front.
Yeah.
Do you have, of all the projects, I know we got a couple more to talk about, but do you have a favorite album?
I wouldn't say
or a favorite like couple of songs. Like if somebody said that never heard of Bezz Believe, and you said, what's 3 songs that you would suggest people check out? Do you have those 3 that you could?
I would definitely say, like, especially if they want to see, because I'm all about versatility and like being like, I'm a man with many different sides and many different groups that I hang out with in different locations that I be at, where it's like I hate being pigeonholed, like, oh, you're just a country rapper, or you're just a thug, or you're just like, no, bro, like, well, maybe I might be in the hood this day, and then the next day I'm at the mud park. Like, that's who I am. Like, don't try to say, oh, since you hang out the mud park, you're racist. No, I just like going to the fucking mud park, and then I like hanging out in the hood too. Like, what's wrong with that? Or I might go to the golf club. Like, let me be me. I'm me wherever I go, you know? And I like people in all those different environments.
No, for sure, man. And 2023, you dropped two dope projects. You dropped Lifted Trucks and Loud Packs, and you dropped Hustler's Motivation in 2023. Those are the last 2 albums that you dropped. Now, 2023, bro, I remember you had the one track with Twista and Crazy Bone. That one was dope. And then I know you and Trap House Kodo have done a few tracks. That's the homie too. Shout out.
Hell yeah, he's good people.
But do you? In the midst of all this, you became a father as well.
Yeah.
Your son, when we were recording this, your son, you said 2.5.
Yeah.
So, do you want to speak about that? I know we spoke about it briefly on the pod, but like, speak about fatherhood, how that changed you, how that made you feel.
It really opened my eyes to be like, you need to claim this shit now. You need to get this money and you need to do it now. You know, like when before, it's like, that's why I didn't put out no diss records or come at nobody, because I'm like, oh, well, I could wait till tomorrow, you know, like, yeah, I don't really feel like getting involved with that right now. You know, I'm chilling. Now it's like, dude, you need to make this shit happen now. You have a son. Like if you do not take off with what you're doing right now, like he's gonna suffer. So stop lollygagging, stop procrastinating your dreams, stop procrastinating the stuff that you need to get done. Just do it now. So your son could be proud of you and you could provide for him, you know?
No, for sure, man. Not to mention, you know, your lady, y'all had been together when y'all got together. Y'all had been together for a little bit before.
Maybe like a year and a half too, yeah.
Yeah, and she's a big, which we spoke about too. She's a big reason for like a lot of the drive and stuff that you've been able to maintain with her supporting along the way too. Do you want to speak about the importance of balancing what you got going here and then what y'all got going too?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It just takes more grind, you know. You gotta, excuse my French, you gotta let your nuts hang and be a man and handle your responsibilities. And it's like we talked about, like if that means you sleeping three less hours, you got to do that because you got responsibilities to handle. It was your choice to put this child into this earth, and you better be there because he's only going to be that age once, and he's going to remember all this one day. And you have the opportunity to shape the man he becomes, you know. So it's like, I'll make whatever sacrifices it takes to be a present father and do what I do, you know?
Yeah. That's dope, bro. That's commendable for sure. And then 2024, you've been really focusing heavily on singles.
Yeah.
I want to say 2024, you dropped like 15 singles, something like that. You dropped a bunch.
It's once a week, yeah. I went a little bit with none because, like I said, that's when I was getting my house and my family together. So it lit a fire under my ass. Trust, I was still keeping the pen as sharp as I could at the moment, you know. I just wasn't really dropping, and then stuff sounded like redundant because I was really on my hustle shit. So I'm like, man, I just hustle from sun up to sundown. I have no life experiences to rap about besides working. You know? Yeah.
So it's like you found the single game was working, and in the midst of all this too, you relocate to Michigan.
Yeah.
So, and you're into the agricultural side of Michigan, in which you're vocal about, and it's doing very well for you.
Most
and
definitely,
salute you on that. And then I noticed that the singles is what really started, like when you did like the Flock of Flow, and you did Truck If You Buck, and you did those kind of tracks, and then that kept building, and then it leads up to these last few weeks that we've been leading when this is being filmed. You do the Fuck the Rap Game, right? Speak about what brought that on, and speak about when it dropped, the crazy, the viral aspect of it.
I definitely would say now that we spoke of fatherhood, like that was probably the top motivators to it. Now that you really think about it, because it's like, I don't want my son thinking I'm some sort of pussy. I didn't follow my dream to the furthest extent where I'm ripping off rappers' heads and declaring that I'm the best to do this, you know, and calling out the biggest names. Like, imagine if he grows up and he's like listening to these mumble rappers popping their booty, talking about sucking each other's toes and doing all types of weirdo shit. Yeah. And he's like, but my dad never made it. Like, then those are going to be his role models. And then he might be painting his fingernails and wearing a purse and mumbling on auto-tune. You know, it's like, I don't want my son growing up in a world like that. Like, so I'm going to give my all, you know. I'm going to give it my all and take the risks that it takes, you know, and understanding, hey, there might be consequences to those risks, but do what you're going to gain out of it, is it going to outweigh it? Hell yeah. And the biggest factor, I think, is just respect, because everybody who knows me, like Bezz could spit, you know, unless you're like a hater. But it's like, in this game, all because you could spit, all because you make good music and you work hard, people are almost going to try to blackball you for that sometimes, or they're going to try to count you out, or they're going to be like, well, our circle be fucking off and doing drugs, and we got the clout right now, and we're the cool ones, so you busting your ass in your studio, that ain't the wave we on, you know. So it's like I've been like a one man army a lot because it's like I have a work ethic and a grind and a self-discipline that a lot of people can't match, where it's like something just snapped where I'm like, I know nobody's putting in this work. I know nobody's going in this hard. I'm about to call all you motherfuckers out, and I'm about to declare my spot on the fucking throne. However you want to view me, like, y'all gonna recognize me. Yeah, these names fucking suck, and I'm gonna be the one right in the fucking middle showing y'all how to rap, but I'm gonna have the same popularity and clout and respect. I'm gonna have more respect than y'all, you know what I'm saying? It was like respect, like, this industry gonna respect me. You're gonna stop trying to walk all over me. You're gonna stop trying to steal my songs, my melodies, my wave, and then go make it some mainstream commercial weirdo shit with my shit. No, I'm stamping it. Like I'm stamping myself. Like fuck it all.
No, for
like,
sure.
If you're gonna be more popular than me, then you better be a hell of a lot more talented than me, and you better be working hard. No more industry politics, no more connections, no more weirdo TMZ outfit moments. I'm showing y'all I'm gonna get popping from being a skilled rapper, you know?
Yeah. And when that dropped, it went crazy. Like on especially on Instagram, on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all that. And do you want to speak about like the flack that you caught? I mean, you catch flack anyway.
Yeah.
And I think some of it is just, you're going to catch it regardless. And then some of it also may just be misunderstanding or whatever. But do you want to speak about the stuff, maybe the stuff you was getting from that disc?
Yeah, most definitely. In this game, like how I've seen it, if you're a good dude, you know you're doing right, and like you're doing nothing but positive and people are hating on you, that means you're winning, you know? It's like there are people who do get haters and they're popular, but for being a piece of shit and doing people bad, you're not winning if that's your popularity. But if you doing shit that you know is right in your heart and you can stand there and say, man, I'm a good human being, I'm winning. So it's like I already know that's just hip hop culture, bro. It's just so much. It's so hate driven. It's so everyone's a critic. And like over years, I just learned that, you know. It's like
you just embrace it. It just comes as part of the game.
Yeah, because it's definitely. I mean, look at all the biggest names to do this shit. They were all hella controversial, you know.
Yeah, and then following that track, you did, I'm guessing you did Jupac.
Yeah.
Speak about that one, bro, because that one's become one of your currently your high streaming songs.
Oh, that's what's up, man. The Jupac is, man, I heard that beat, and it's like Jupac was always like, I actually had a song years ago that I called Jupac, but it didn't really go anywhere. I think it was like the intro on the Waterboy album.
And you're Jewish, obviously, so people are like, why is he saying, like, just so
yeah. And so it just became like a little nickname that was like a joke, but kind of serious, because like I feel like I'm, you know, haters gonna hate, but I know I could deliver some Tupac type quality level shit. Yeah. You know, when I get deep and I really talk about meaningful shit, I could get on his level where I was like, man, I just heard that beat and I was just like, white boy, 6-point star. They call me Jupac, and the words just flew after that. You know.
And you think some of that also too, you were probably getting a lot of attention on that one because of the attention you was getting from Fuck the Rap Game too.
Oh yeah, definitely, because 21 Savage actually freaking shared Jupac, like trying to clown on me, like what he wrote, like what the fuck is this shit. Man, it was good exposure, you know. Fuck it, if you know whatever he feels like at it. I don't care about
you threw it, and plus you said something to him. You said something in the Fuck the Rap Game too. So it's all in hip hop too. But like
exactly,
him doing that, I mean, it helped you out.
It gave a hell of exposure, and you know, I salute him for doing it. I don't know what you know, maybe he was trying to hate or however he felt, but it was positive for me. So it's like it was a win.
Yeah, and then the most recent single, when this is being recorded, you go back to like the country rap roots and you do Mud Riders Anthem.
Yeah.
Which just dropped like when we interviewed each other, interviewing you, it dropped yesterday.
Yeah.
May 10th. So it's just basically showing, okay, I'm doing this But then I can still do this stuff that I've been doing too for the last 3 to 5 years.
100%. Because now I got to shift him out of only being the guy who did the diss. Now I got to show him I got other records and real music. Like I don't I'm just not some random hater who pops out of nowhere to try to get clout. Like
Right.
I show him now I really do this shit. Like that was last week's viral video. We got another one next week.
Right. Yeah. And then you're currently recording tracks for a soundtrack to let's speak about that. So you're in the city because
we're shooting we're not shooting we're recording the soundtrack for an animated series called Neon Empire. It's pretty much about like a upcoming country rap artist making it in these Nashville streets, man, and showing that rise. It's heavily definitely influenced by a lot of people who were on the scene out here, which is really cool, so the storyline is pretty damn realistic.
Yeah. And then what's cool too, like we were talking about, is that not only are you getting to do dope music, but you're basically writing it from that character's perspective.
Yeah.
For the animated stuff, but then you're also going to get to you're doing the voice of the character.
Yeah.
So it's going to be kind of you're going to get to kind of see a different side than you normally do. Normally it's just from the artist standpoint.
Definitely. And it's like I love it because now it's like I get to go into a different character. It's like I'm always so authentic in who I am in my music. And I'm like, I get to be like these other fake rappers now where I get to play a character.
Right.
But it's kind of cool because like I said, like I'm always searching for inspiration. So it's like it gives me an opportunity to talk about shit that I haven't talked about in the song, because now it's like I can speak from somebody else's perspective in the records. And a lot of it, the character is very relatable to me. So like a lot of the songs are like halfway my real story, halfway talking about the animated series,
Yeah, man. And currently that's what you got going. Like you're doing that right there. So I want to ask you this. What are some misconceptions about Bezz Belief?
Man, there's so many. I think a lot of people definitely think I'm like stuck up or Hollywood until they meet me in person, like I'm like the total opposite of that. I think one of my biggest problems in this game is I was too humble, where it's like I've almost allowed people to take advantage of me because I've came in this game with open arms. I've met every artist like with nothing but love, and a lot of them, they don't got that same mentality towards me, and trying to think. And then a lot of people think obviously because I'm Jewish, my parents are super rich and they just Malibu's Most Wanted and paid for my whole rap career and gave me a liquor store and just like just handed me my life, and I'm using my granny's money to go get a Kevin Gates and Gucci Mane feature, what I'm saying? But I hustled a lot. I've done a lot of G shit in my fucking life, But
so
like,
that's something.
Yeah.
Oh, so that people were trying to say that like a lot of the stuff, the startup, was because of that.
Yeah. They think I just like got handed a bag because I'm Jewish and all Jewish people are rich,
Right.
Like,
you had to like grind for that.
Hell, fucking yeah, dude.
Yeah, man. I think a lot of the times, man, artists especially are misunderstood in one way or the other, and a lot of the times it's just a matter of navigating through. Is it worth arguing over it, or is it better to just say bless you on your journey, and I'm just gonna move my way and you move yours?
100%.
That's usually always what I do, because it's just like, do I have the energy? Is it even worth it? You know what I'm saying?
I think the best way now I'm realizing is do it in a song, because like, you reach that level where you can't respond back to all these people. You can't fight every single person that says something mean, like I ain't got time for all that. It's like I'll put out a song and address it all, and then I get paid off the streams and you get zero promo,
Right? Yeah. No, that's a good way to handle it too, man. So this has been a dope sit down, bro. I'm glad that we've been able to sit and talk, and you be able to tell your story and go through your catalog. And I know it was like a Cliff Notes version. I just wanted to skim through to give the people an idea of, because you've worked with a lot of dope artists, man, and you've done you made a lot of dope music, and you still got a lot to make, But this is what I ask, everybody that I interview. Okay, so in your standpoint, it would be, who is Bezz Believe?
Man, Bezz Believe is the positive light that the world needs. I hope to be, you know, like a role model in this rap game. Like I said, I'm not perfect, but I think if, you know, the next generation followed the steps and my advice and my music over what the mainstream is pushing at them, I think, you know, kids will come out a lot more successful.
Yeah.
You know, I want to put a lot of smiles on people's faces. I want to, you know, relate to people and really just bring good energy to the world, man. That's really, I feel like, just the definition of Bezz Believe, man. Is just like, if you're around me, we need to be smiling, having fun, and having good, intelligent conversation and building each other up, and making each other better people, man. That's really what I'm all about.
Hell yeah, man. Well, dude, I appreciate you sitting down, man. You came through and sat down with us for the pod, sat down with us for the interview, and I'm appreciative of that, man. We've been wanting to do this for a couple of years now, so I'm glad we finally got to. And all of his links will be in the description. Y'all be sure to tap in, because when this drops, he's probably got something else that's either out or about to drop.
Definitely.
And Bezz, I really appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, same, my brother. It's been long overdue, for sure.
No, for sure, man. ChadArmesTV, Bezz Believe.